The haunting of the water tank. It was a quiet autumn night when Jack, a 35-year-old maintenance worker, received an urgent call from his supervisor. A government-covered water tank had malfunctioned, and it was causing a disturbance in the water supply. Jack was the only one available to respond to the call, so he reluctantly grabbed his tools and headed out into the night. As he arrived at the water tank, he couldn't shake off the eerie feeling that crept up his spine. The tank stood tall and imposing, surrounded by a fence that creaked in the wind. The moon cast an otherworldly glow on the structure, making it appear even more ominous. Taking a deep breath, Jack knew he had a job to do. He unlocked the gate and made his way inside, the only sound being the crunch of gravel under his boots. The hatch to the water tank was located at the top, so he set up his ladder and prepared to descend into the darkness. Carefully climbing down, Jack shone his flashlight into the depths of the tank. The beam revealed murky water, the surface disturbed by an unknown force. Frowning, Jack began his work, attempting to fix the malfunction as quickly as possible. But as he worked, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every now and then, he would glance over his shoulder, half expecting to see someone or something lurking in the shadows. As he neared the end of his task, the water within the tank began to ripple and churn. Jack froze, his breath catching in his throat. He strained his eyes to see through the murky water, feeling a sense of dread building within him. Suddenly, a figure began to materialize in the depths, a twisted form with glowing eyes and a malevolent aura. His heart pounding, Jack stumbled back and lost his footing, falling to the floor of the tank. As he scrambled to regain his composure, the figure within the water seemed to grow stronger, its form becoming more defined with each passing second. It was a witch, a horrifying specter that seemed to emanate pure malice. In a panic, Jack fumbled for his tools, desperate to find a way out of the tank. But as he turned to climb the ladder, the hatch above him slammed shut with a resounding clang. He was sealed inside, trapped with the witch that had emerged from the water. Fear gripped him as he realized that he was at the mercy of the supernatural entity. The witch's eyes bored into his soul, and an unholy cackle filled the air, sending chills down his spine. With a determined effort, Jack tried to force the hatch open, but it refused to budge. The witch, now fully materialized within the tank, began to circle him, her laughter echoing off the steel walls. Jack could feel her presence, a tangible evil that seemed to seep into his very being. He closed his eyes, praying for a miracle, but when he opened them again, he was met with the witch's ghastly visage mere inches from his own. Her twisted features contorted with glee as she reached out to touch him, her fingers icy and clammy. Jack recoiled, his mind racing for a way to escape. In a last-ditch effort, he grabbed a nearby wrench and swung it wildly at the witch, but she merely laughed, unaffected by his attempts to fend her off. As the witch drew closer, Jack's mind filled with visions of a grisly end at her hands. Just when he was on the brink of despair, a blinding light pierced through the darkness. The tank's hatch swung open, and a group of his fellow workers stood silhouetted against the night sky, calling out to him. With newfound hope, Jack scrambled up the ladder and out of the tank, the witch's malevolent laughter echoing in his ears. His co-workers helped him to safety, but when he turned to look back at the water tank, the witch had vanished, leaving only the still, dark water behind. Shaken to the core, Jack recounted his harrowing experience to his co-workers and his supervisor. They listened in disbelief, but Jack knew what he had seen in the depths of that tank. The supernatural encounter had left an indelible mark on him, and he knew he would never be able to erase the memory of the witch from his mind. From that night on, Jack avoided the water tank at all costs, haunted by the chilling presence he had encountered. His co-workers whispered about the strange occurrence, and rumors of the haunting spread through the maintenance crew like wildfire. But for Jack, it was more than just a rumor, it was a terrifying reality that he could never forget. The witch from the water tank had left an indelible imprint on his soul, a reminder that some horrors lurk in the most unexpected of places.